All right, I'm not going to waste any time here. I'm just going to go in, jump in, and start connecting the ear up to the head. First, I want to take the ear and put it in its own display layer. So I'll just name this ear. And a lot of these display layers will get emptied once we start joining things together, but ear layer. But basically, it's just nice being able to turn the visibility off and on, especially when you have two objects that are right next to each other. The other thing you can do is lock them. So like if I don't want to accidentally select the eyes, I can go to my eyes layer and click that until it's R, and now I can't select those eyes. I can do that same thing for the head if I wanted to. So getting started on connecting the ear and modeling the back of the ear, what we need to do for the back of the ear is if you just feel your own ear, you'll notice that like it kind of goes in and then you have a crease in the back and it kind of has like a little round shape right where it connects to the back of your skull. So we need to create that shape. And a lot of times if you look up a picture of an ear, you're not going to see that. So it's kind of just something you have to wing, another one of those things that we have to just go off and and just trust our gut. So I'm basically just going to select all these guys here, and I'm going to hit extrude and bring those in. Now for the bottom and even the back here, it's not too bad, but for the for these guys, if you look at a reference, we still have a lot of sort of ear area to cover up here. So I want to I sort of want to take care of that. Oops. All right, so then I'm going to do that same thing again. Just going to select there to say all the way over here. Oops. Didn't really do what I wanted it to, so we'll try that again. And this is going in the skull a little bit, so we'll probably end up having to change either the head geometry or the ear geometry a little bit, but we'll figure it out eventually. So one more time, just extrude. This time I'm just going to scale those guys in a little bit. And here we're going to start making this is where the back of the ear sort of starts. Be very careful, and I do it all the time, selecting geometry that you don't want to select. That's something I constantly do. I just did it again. So just be careful about that. Again, that goes back to make sure you're not modeling in smooth mode like I just was, because a lot of times you're selecting an area and that area is not where your vertex is because it's smooth. So That's another thing to just sort of be careful about. Basically what I'm trying to achieve here is sort of a round shape at the back of the ear. And I'm also trying to think about how it transitions into the head. So I don't want to have any harsh sort of transitions, because then I'm just going to have to go in and change that later. So areas oops, I keep selecting the wrong vertices. Areas like this that I really don't want to stretch those that far. I don't want to stretch those vertices that far. I kind of want to figure out how to fix that so I don't really have to stretch them so far. So I think what I'm going to do here is just delete a couple of these edges and just sort of look at this and see how I can get away without having those stretched all the way down. So instead sort of close them up here. So see, multi-cut tool, so I can probably get away with something like that there. And I'll go ahead and extend this all the way through to here. Again, it's important to constantly check from all angles, because you'll find that sometimes things are way off from where they should be. Like that right there. That's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. These guys too. And I'll eventually smooth a lot of that out, most likely. All right, so but I think that's decent for what I want. So what I want to do now is grab all these around the edge, and I'm just selecting them individually because I don't think doing an edge loop would get exactly what I want. And probably don't need that guy there, so then I'll extrude again. And this time I'm going to just oops, rotate that extrusion a little bit and bring it in. Actually, I'm going to bring it way out because I'm going to want to sort of line everything up with our head anyway. So I'm going to bring it out far enough where I can select these guys without an issue and sort of start trying to line them up with our head. This may be, I keep selecting the head by accident, so it's probably a good time just to lock that so I don't accidentally select the head anymore. That's another very useful thing about layers. Working with display layers. All right, so it's getting there. It's sort of what we're looking for. I think it's still a little too big in the back, so it's easy enough once we get everything lined up to just sort of shrink it down and move it around. And I probably even have a little too much geometry back here. It's going to be hard to connect that up. You know, if we look at the head geometry, we don't have nearly as much over here that we do here. So should probably try to reduce some of that. So let's see if we can do that. Just go through and delete some edges. And again, we're probably going to need to go ahead and make some triangles in here, or sort of make another one of these, which will make those two guys quads. I'm okay with making that a triangle. Go ahead and do something like that there, and then we can go ahead and bring these guys in. A little bit. So that's starting to look something like what we're looking for. And you know, this guy's ear sticks out quite a bit, so grab those and pull it out a little bit to give it that round shape, and I think we're good. I think we can go ahead and start connecting this up to the head. Now there will be some, and you'll find these, especially if you use like your sculpt geometry tool to kind of smooth things out a little bit. You're going to find areas where you create a geometry that it just, you know, doesn't make sense to keep geometry there. Like right here is a good area. So if I smooth that, you'll see that we sort of have these two triangles right there, and two triangles makes a quad. So why not just get rid of a triangle, and that will just kind of, or get rid of that edge, and that will kind of make things a lot more easier to just manage and see. Okay, so once we have our ear complete, what I want to do next is probably jump over to the head. So I'm going to go ahead and let's harden the normals on the ear just so we can see the ear. I'm going to go ahead and lock that ear layer for now, and we probably want to come in and start altering some areas of this head to sort of allow the ear a little more room, especially like right in here around that jawline. We have an ingon there that we may be able to get rid of into the ear somehow. We just kind of have to wait and see what we can do there. All right, so the next thing I want to do is just sort of look at the ear, the area the ear is going to connect to the head, and cut out a hole. So, and again, this, you know, my geometry I'm probably going to be creating some ingons here. I just have to be sure I go back and fix them later. So I just want to come in and kind of cut out a space for the ear, even if it's a little bigger than what it should be. Just bring this all the way down like so, and then I want to delete all those faces. And there, connects that to the ear. This is where it may be important for you to turn on your wireframe on shaded, so we can actually see all of our wireframes here as we're working. And you can kind of guess where you want it to connect up to. So, okay. So we have our ear. Let me go ahead and unlock our ear layer. So we have our ear and our head, and we have a hole in our head for our ear to go in. So the next thing I want to do is combine the two. Now when I combine them, our instance is going to disappear. That's okay, we can just make another instance really quickly. So don't get sort of freaked out whenever you see that. But what we're going to do is select both our head and our ear, and this is also going to make one of our layers empty. So we're going to have to go in and rearrange those. I just want to go ahead and delete history to free up any problems that may cause. And then I'm going to go to Mesh, Combine. Like I said, that's going to delete our instance. But easily enough, we can just go in to Edit, Duplicate Special. And all our settings are still there, so I just want to hit Apply, and I get a duplicate with an ear. And maybe take a look at our ear So basically what happened was, because we combined those two objects together, our ear and our face layer, it pulled it out and put it in neither of those layers. So I can go ahead and delete my ear layer here. So I'll just right click and delete. And then I'll click on my face layer with my object, both of my objects selected, and right click and say add selected objects. So now those are on my face layer. So what I want to do at this point is go around and where it makes sense, I want to merge some vertices. So I'll use my merge vertex tool, and where those two vertices are closest together, like there, I'm just going to go ahead and merge those. Just where it makes sense to merge the vertices. And if they're really far apart, like right here, those verts are kind of far apart, I'm not going to do it there, because that's just going to create some issues. So basically at this point, our ears and our head are joined. We have them as one joined object. But there's still a lot of holes and a lot of things we got to fix, so we have to sort of make the geometry so these things work out right. Now first, I like to connect the front of the ear here. So what I need to do is make some geometry to actually connect that to. So and again, whenever I make my finishing up video, I'll be fixing a lot of these triangles and n-gons that I have. But for now, I just want to get the ear completely connected to the head. So I'm not too concerned about triangles and stuff at this point. So I'm going to grab my my multi-cut tool, and we'll start making some geometry to actually connect things up to. And like I said, a lot of these I will most likely end up deleting or rearranging them, but for now I just want to get things connected to the head. So a lot of this stuff will go away eventually. Okay, so I have some geometry there, some edges and verts that I can connect things to. So I'm going to switch over to my merge vertex tool and merge those guys together. So what you're seeing here, we have that thick line there. So that means there's something wrong. We're still getting border edges there somehow. There's something wrong with our geometry, not quite matching up. So at this point, this is where I would go in and see if I can try to fix things. So it may be our normals, so I'll go ahead and go to normals, and I want to unlock my normals, and I want to go to normals, conform, and that is where our problem is. So basically the normals for our ear is reversed from the normals for our face. So those two edges don't really want to connect up. So after going to normals, conform, I'll go to normals, reverse, and that's going to reverse the normals for our ear, so it matches the normals on the face. So reverse. So now you'll see that we don't have that that hard transition there. If I smooth it, we get a soft transition there where our ears belong. Okay, so I want to go ahead and do the same thing for the back. I want to try and get everything matching up where it should be. So this guy. So sometimes, in this case, it makes sense. It kind of makes sense for this to be somewhere over here, and this, you know, polygon may need to change. So we'll go ahead and make a. We'll go ahead and cut it here too, and I'll go ahead and delete this face, and then merge those two guys together. And we'll merge those two guys together, which will create a triangle, but I don't think a triangle is terrible in that area. That guy I can delete. And these are going to create a lot of triangles, but I think I can fix those in one way or the other eventually. So merge vertex tool. I'm just going to merge those guys together. Oops, merge that to the wrong one. There we go. And a lot of times I would fix something like this just by using my multi-cut tool and making another edge loop that kind of goes around this area. Oops. And then I can extend some of these other, you know, I can probably take this guy over here and I can take this guy over here, but that's something I'll work on towards the end. I think right now I just want to get my my ear connected to the head completely. Add in 2 edge loops, and I think we will be done. We will have our ear fully connected to our head. Oops. Make sure you get the right one. This isn't easy, a very not easy, but it's a time that you have to be very careful because it's easy to mess up at this point. Yeah, so at some point I merged this edge with that. So like I said, be very careful which verts you're merging together. Okay, we have ears. There's still a lot of cleanup to be done, a lot of tweaking to be done before we move on to creating something like the neck. So I think in the next video I will go ahead and just do the time lapse of me sort of tweaking and fixing and working and getting this to be a very good, clean, good topology piece of geometry.